has never been a motivating factor for him.
Never motivated me. Regular season MVP has never motivated me. To be the best to ever play the game has motivated me and has resulted in me being able to be league MVP a couple times. But I've never gone into the season saying, okay, league MVP is what I want to be. I've gone into the season saying, okay, I want to be the MVP of this team. I want to be the best player in the world. And how I approach my game every day, how I take care of my body every day has resulted in things like that.
So Max is here, first take in 6 minutes, and I would usually start with you, but the way you laughed, and of course you played with LeBron all that time, what did you react to that?
Well, he's kind of telling the truth, but not entirely telling the truth. He doesn't go out there to try and win an MVP. Like, he's one of those guys that could average a triple-double. He doesn't go out there and try and do that. But he is motivated because he wants that respect. Coming off a year that they had last year and them struggling, and a lot of people questioning whether or not his durability or could he lead a team in the Western Conference. So he's taking a lot of pride, and he believes he deserves the MVP.
LeBron James was in his prime in the second championship in Miami. That's when he was a two-way player, one of the all-time great defensive players, by the way, also, and offensive players, played all the time, won the championship, the whole thing. After that, he realized the NBA season is not 82 games. It's 10 games if you win the whole thing potentially. So it's so absurd. The regular season MVP in basketball is absurd. Greater than 50% of the teams make the playoffs. You're more likely to make it than not to make it. Since there's never been an MVP, even candidate, from a non-playoff team, what sense does it make to give this award out before the playoffs? So what he realizes is in order to be the real MVP, he needs to pace himself in the low leverage games in order that he has gas in the tank for the high leverage game.
Especially an older player. That's the one disadvantage, like an older player that has a lot of miles that's looking for longevity over the course of the season versus like a guy like Giannis that can just go out and play 40 minutes every night, even though he's not.
Max and I grew up in the same neighborhood. We have the same birthday, and that's why he's so smart. You're exactly right. It is ludicrous. Look, yeah, you are much younger than me. We have the same birthday, not the same birth date.
Yes.
But there is no question. It is ridiculous to give the MVP award out. I've been making this argument for a long time. Candidly, I get yelled at for saying it a lot. But you're saying it, and I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling with you. I think you're 1,000% right.
Yeah, look, the interesting thing about LeBron is he was always the MVP, whether he got it or not. Yeah. And then a couple of times other guys actually deserved it. KD, Steph, they were better in the regular season, but by the end of the year, it was obvious LeBron was the best.
Well, so let's talk about the MVP race, though, while we're saying that maybe it doesn't matter that much. But here's the thing. Giannis right now does have a lead in it, yes. But can LeBron catch him or surpass him over this next stretch that they have?
Again, these next 5 or 6 games for the Lakers are key. And for Anthony Davis also, if he goes out there and dominates players defensively, because you got the Clippers and you got Milwaukee, that can boost you up in the defensive player of the year. And for Bron, if he goes out there and gives us 35 and 15 and puts up these crazy numbers against these great teams that he's about to play, it can kind of level the playing field.
All right, we have to let Max go. 3 minutes and change. You see, to first take, he'll be across the hall. I'll join you over there in just a couple of minutes, so we're looking forward to that. Again, Max, younger than me, but smart. Tip off your NBA Friday with our next doubleheader on ESPN and the ESPN app tonight. Zion and the Pelicans host Jimmy Butler in the Heat, 8 Eastern, and then you will see it head-to-head. Giannis against LeBron should be terrific. That's a really good doubleheader we have coming your way tonight. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7. And we'll keep RJ here for the few minutes that we have left. Awesome. And let's talk a little bit more about that if we can as we look ahead to this doubleheader and also to that notion of MVP, because you didn't get a chance to react. Do you agree with the idea that the NBA's most valuable player should be an award that takes the playoffs into account?
No, because I don't. Because I do believe you have the finals MVP. And then I think for the regular season MVP, it's over the long course. It's over 82 games. Who was the most valuable player over this regular season? And it's tough because we go, who's the most dominant? Who's the best two-way? We have all of these awards that we want to kind of give out. But at the end of the day, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, it's over it. And we've just accepted the fact that, yes, you might win MVP because you've had an amazing season like Steph. But it doesn't mean that you're the best player in the world.
Tell him he's wrong.
You're wrong. Because it should be a collective award. It should be of the entire season, which includes the postseason. And whomever is the MVP in the regular season is most likely in the postseason and then could be the MVP of that as well. It's a collective award.
Well, this is my thing. It's like you look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who had a solid season last year, but he was resting quite a bit, wins a championship. Now, all of a sudden, because of all of the things that happened, does that boost him up? If you were to do it after the season was over, you would be like, wait, Kawhi Leonard was the MVP this year. Look at what he accomplished with Toronto.
Fair.
And I would say no.
Let me make a separate but similar argument.
Okay.
If this is the way the MVP is going to be viewed, we should stop taking it into account at the end of a player's career when we consider their all-time greatness. Which is to say, when we're comparing Michael and LeBron and Kareem and all these guys, we look at the regular season MVPs. If we have discounted the regular season to that degree, then I think that the significance of that award is diminished.
Well, and I'm not discounting. That's the thing. I'm not discounting. I'm actually giving like, hey, over the 82, you were the best, most important player, and you had the best season of all of the great players. So I'm actually giving I'm giving the regular season more attention.
Why can't there be two? Like, why couldn't there be an overall MVP award that counts in the postseason, and then just whomever was like the best in the postseason, and maybe it's the same person?
Well,
sometimes.
they give it to the finals MVP.
Well, yeah,
there is a finals MVP, but
you see the problem. You see the problem. Look, the finals MVP is the one that they all want. The regular season MVP is something that is earned over a 6-month span, and I feel like that's a bit fair.
All right, quickly. LeBron tonight against Milwaukee, Sunday against the Clippers. What is his record going to be these two games?
I think at best they go 1-1. At best they go 1-1, and it's more likely than they go 0-2 than they go 2-0.
Who has a better game tonight, LeBron?
No. I think Giannis is an unstoppable force.
Have a great week.
Everyone just feels like there's a lid on, and you're playing against a very, very good defensive Clippers team.
Yeah, more on that in a moment. At one point, the Rockets missed 20 straight threes. Let's go to the third quarter. Clippers up by 21, and just watch Kawhi here, dominant.
No, he can dominate. And like I said, if you want to go small ball and then you look at the amount of smalls that the Clippers have, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, look, they might do micro ball better than the Rockets sometimes. Okay, 6 minutes to go in the third. Clippers up by 24. And there's Zubats getting in the dunk party.
Yeah, you have no big to help rim protect, and you got James Harden, no disrespect, trying to stop a 7-footer from going in and dunking.
Let's just add a little bit of insult to injury here for the Rockets. They're down by 21, and Westbrook going up for the dunk, but the rim says no. He stood no chance against that rim. Clippers win 120-105, and the Rockets want to walk away from this one. Here's Mike D'Antoni on exactly what happened.
I think missing shots a lot of times is a product of just not being forceful, not being engaged, not being tough, not being. They smacked us good, you know, and we didn't respond. Didn't respond defensively. We didn't respond anywhere. It's just a whole barrel of bad stuff, and it was. We just got our butts whipped. Now we know where we got to go, and will we respond? We just this will make us, or it won't break us, but this will make us.
Yeah, look, I mean, to be fair, it was one game. But here's the thing. Houston's shooting performance was one for the history books for all the wrong reasons. Their 16.7 field goal percentage on threes was the worst in franchise history. They've attempted at least 40 from downtown when that was the case. And here's what Charles Barkley said about small ball yesterday on the Dan Levitard show with Stu Gatz.
I like Daryl Morey. It's nothing personal. I don't think you're going to win with putting a little bunch of leprechauns out there because you're going to get worn down over a 7-game series. And when you start playing the elite teams, they're going to be just as good offensively, but much better defensively and on the rebounds.
Oh, a little bunch of leprechauns out there. What do you think?
I dig it. I love it. And Charles always has a humorous way of bringing it. But it's the truth. In a 7-game series, you're going to have a physicality that goes on. And so for the Rockets, it is all about knocking down shots. First round, second round. Eventually, they're going to have to make a ton of shots. And that's just not the makeup of their team. They have scorers, but not a ton of shots. And you're going to be asking guys to do this over the course of an extended playoff series. To me, that's just not a recipe for success.
I have two separate thoughts. One of them is Charles Barkley can say anything and I'll listen and enjoy it.
And laugh.
The second is, to me, last night is much less about the Rockets than it is about the Clippers. I don't think that last night is a referendum on whether what the Rockets are doing can work. I think last night is a referendum on the fact that when the Clippers are healthy and together, Nobody plays with them. They're the best team, with all due respect to the Bucks, who are having the best season. When the Clippers are together, Richard, they're the best team.
And honestly, Greeny, when you sit here, I'm so proud of you for the amount of knowledge that you have just absorbed.
I'm like a sponge.
You're a sponge.
Yes.
It's amazing. The Clippers are the best team. To me, the Clippers, this is their championship to lose. Like I've said, if everyone plays their best version of basketball, the Clippers have the most talent and the most talent in the right positions.
Yeah, and you mentioned this to me earlier, and I think this is important too. They're like the scariest matchup for everybody. There's not a team that they don't match up well with.
No, can I
please
show you what else I've learned from you?
I'm proud of you.
The championship teams are the ones who can beat you however you want to play.
Yes.
And they can beat you. So you go out against a little Rocket team and we'll do that. And you want to go play the Lakers and they're big and we'll do that. Whatever you want to do, we'll beat you.
There are two. They can beat you in multiple different ways, or they have a force that is so dominant that you just can't do anything about. We can talk about Shaq. We can talk about Tim Duncan, David Robinson. The great teams either had an unstoppable force or something that you just couldn't match up with, like the Golden State Warriors the last few years.
I like that Greeny was just like the little Rocket team.
The little Rocket team. That's what they are. They are. They're little space
and they're good. And I enjoy watching them play.
Yeah.
They're going to be a tough out, I think, in the playoffs. But nobody wants any part of the Clippers. Meanwhile, speaking of unstoppable forces, my favorite athlete of all time again, it's Snacks.
Yes.
Thomas Lee.